Welcome to One Big Boat. We're all in this together. A show focused on people and organizations whose work is making a true difference in people's lives. Today we welcome Ari Barbanel, the Executive Director of Circle of Hope in Needham, Massachusetts.
Now, in my work in homelessness, that's about gathering people around a cause, getting people connected to what is meaningful about it, having more understanding as a community so we can get more done.
She's on board to discuss how they provide clothing and hygiene essentials to those in need. That's next on One Big Boat. We're all in this together. I was looking at your bio. Event producer, stage. How does somebody with your background end up at Circle of Hope?
Yeah, that's a great question. By accident. No, it makes sense because my work in the arts and theater and events was about bringing people together and creating community around a shared experience. And for the first half of my professional life, that was about theater and performing arts and bringing people to have an incredible moment in time. And now in my work in homelessness, that's about gathering people around a cause, getting people connected to what is meaningful about it, having more understanding as a community so we can get more done. So there is actually a through line that makes sense.
So for people who are unaware, what's the big 50,000 foot picture? What is Circle of Hope?
Circle of Hope is a nonprofit focused on providing hygiene and clothing essentials for people experiencing homelessness or who are housing insecure. And we're doing that to provide health and opportunity. We are providing it for the whole family. We're holistic, 0 to 100, babies to grandparents, making sure that everyone has exactly what they need in the right size, the right fit, the right gender expression, the right body care, the right allergy care. We need everyone to feel their best. People are going through this incredibly challenging time, at risk of losing their housing, living in shelter, trying to find a job, caring for their family. And we're the first step in that continuum of care. We're the first piece of the puzzle that can help you move through this experience. So we're trying to get everyone exactly what they need to feel their best, both physically and mentally.
Yeah. When I say homelessness, people may think, well, it's the person out on the street sleeping on the bench. But we did some work with the United Way a couple years ago, and it opened up to my eyes. What is homelessness?
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned is absolutely a piece of homelessness. There are people living on the street, and that is one area, but homelessness can happen to anybody. And it can happen to someone you work with. It can happen to a child that goes to school with your child. 1 in 10 youth are experiencing homelessness, and that's all ages of youth. I mean, we're talking up to age 25. So likely if your kid is in 5th grade, there's a kid in their class who is at risk of homelessness or going through a struggle. We want to help break stigma and help people understand that homelessness is not something anyone chooses. Someone may choose to sleep out on the street at night and not go to shelter because of fears they might have about being in a shelter at night, about safety reasons, about trauma. But I don't know anybody, and I've connected with and work with an enormous number of homeless individuals and families in Boston. Nobody chooses this. This is a state of being, not someone's identity. It can happen in a moment. It's something that is very hard to get out of. So we want people to understand that who we're serving, who homeless service providers are taking care of, are your neighbors, and they have needs just like you do.
Yeah. So the couch surfer, that can be a homeless
Absolutely.
person. What's your geographic area?
So we're based in Needham, and that's where our donation center is, but we serve Greater Boston and the Metro West area. So we have a pretty wide network of partners that we're getting products to every month, mostly with most of them.
Yeah. And so let's start with your Welcome Baby program. What is that?
Welcome Baby is a program focused particularly on new moms and their children. There are an incredible number, rising number of pregnant moms and moms just postpartum that are either experiencing homelessness or trying to make things work to welcome their new baby. And so what we're doing is trying to get them everything they need to make that experience as calm and restful as possible. So we do these wonderful baby bags that are filled not just with items for newborns, but also for mom, postpartum kits, some little extras, washcloths and bottle cleaners and all of the, we consult with these moms and say, what do you need? And a lot of these moms are going from the hospital back into shelter. So what can make that experience a little less traumatic and painful in that moment? And then we stick with these families and keep caring for mom and baby and their other children too, if there are other children in the family, getting them coats and hygiene products and other things that they need to get through that first stage.
And then look, kids maybe starting school or something, how are you there for them?
It's very similar. I mean, wanting to make sure that kids have everything they need. If you could ever imagine going to school and feeling like you don't have something clean to wear or you don't have deodorant or soap to take care of yourself, that'll keep you home from school. If young girls don't have menstrual products, if children don't have a pair of shorts to wear to their physical education class, these are things that will keep a kid out of school. So we're hoping that what we can do is make a child feel their best, their healthiest, their cleanest, and make sure that they can focus on their studies and not think about what they smell like.
I met you guys last year around in December. You guys were having your holiday kind of open house. And I took a tour. And one of the things that stopped me in my tracks was I was told 15% of college kids in Boston are experiencing homelessness. And I was like, how does that happen?
It's, I think, something that's incredibly invisible. And people are, like you, often shocked when we talk about this. Those numbers actually increased in the latest study that we found, which is up to 17%. And, as you mentioned earlier, the idea of homelessness not quite being what we all think it is, couch surfing, sharing space, doubling and tripling up with other people, those are versions of homelessness as well. And that's a lot of what's happening in the college and career-bound community. We are working with a number of schools to provide not just clothing and hygiene, but also dorm essentials, all the things that, maybe a parent or a caregiver took you to a big store and bought you brand new towels and your sheets and your shower caddy. And we're doing that as well for these students and young people. We've heard about students who don't have housing who are sleeping in the library, and security guards are turning their eyes at night so that they can have a safe place to be. There are students coming out of foster care who are suddenly left with no resources, but the resilience and the incredible need to continue their life and education, but they don't have a permanent home. And so we've seen a really enormous need in that area. The biggest numbers are in community colleges, but there are issues in private colleges as well. We're working with both. And that's one of the programs we want to expand the most, because it is a need that not a lot of people think about. And then when you find out about it, it is so great. And students or young people looking for jobs, needing the right clothes, the right products, the right opportunity. So we're really proud of that program. We're really sad it has to exist, but we're really grateful that we can fill that gap in that space.
Yeah. You talked about all of a sudden there's a need. I liked you guys, the rapid response team. So you could be living in this, a house in a beautiful suburb, and all of a sudden fire. Yeah. First off, how does that happen? Does the community come to you? Does the fire officials or police reach out to you guys?
Yeah, we have a lot of great relationships. So we work with partners. And so we work with shelters, medical centers, schools, and we also work with police departments. So the Needham Police Department, Boston Police Department are often the ones handling those situations. They have community outreach officers who will say to us, there's a fire, there's somebody fleeing domestic violence, there's this emergency situation, floods. all the things that also render people instantly homeless. And they'll say, can you help us? And the rapid response program is trying to help within 48 hours. I'll say most often we help within about 48 minutes. Whether we can drive it out to someone or someone can come pick it up, we get it to these social workers and police officers and other first responders that are supporting these needs. So we're really grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah. And bringing dignity is what you guys do, but you actually have the Dignity Project.
Yeah. The Dignity Bags are about putting together hygiene products and basic needs. We want to preserve dignity. We want to uphold dignity, and how someone feels dignified is up to them. But if we can put together something that feels special and necessary, we will. So we work with partners, whether that's community groups, school groups, faith groups, corporate groups, and put together these bags. So it's a project anyone can do. There's my plug for it. And it has what you would hope you would have every day: toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, all those basic needs, body lotion, things that make you feel healthy and well.
Yeah. Do you feel like at times you guys are a Band-Aid?
I think sometimes we are because we have to be, but ultimately I think we stick with our partners, we stick with their clients, we stick with people when they get into housing. Homelessness is a problem while someone is experiencing it, but also getting into housing doesn't mean that everything is perfect. It's very much a necessary part of the puzzle, but then it's managing day-to-day needs like food and work and clothing and hygiene. So we're not stopping our services when somebody is able to get safely and stably housed. So we want to be more than a Band-Aid. We want to be your catalyst to the next step. And so if that means providing something each season, providing something when a child grows, because those kiddos grow fast, we're there. So more than a Band-Aid, maybe an ace bandage, a really good one.
Coming up, the challenges that less federal funding poses.
Most of our partners, especially family shelters, are very much funded at the federal level and are dealing already with cuts and changes. And that means their need for our services are bigger than ever.
The political landscape has changed a lot in the past year since I first met you. How is that going to affect you guys when a lot of these changes, SNAP benefits, health insurance rising, how does that affect you next year?
Yeah, there's so many answers to that. There's a lot of ways it affects us. We are very lucky that our funding comes from more grants and private sources. But most of our partners, especially family shelters, are very much funded at the federal level and are dealing already with cuts and changes. And that means their need for our services are bigger than ever. So places where they might have had some funds to support some needs are not available. And so they're calling on us to do more or to fill in gaps that weren't already part of the services that we have. And we have to go back and analyze, do we have capacity? Can we add this? Is this the right choice for us? And then with SNAP benefits, I don't know if everybody knows this, and so I share it as often as I can. SNAP never covered hygiene products. So when you go to the grocery store and are able to use those public benefits, you can't buy toothpaste. You can't buy soap. It's not allowed. I don't understand why. So if a family was trying to secure those products, they were doing it outside of those benefits, finding extra funds to cover that. And now with the challenges around SNAP benefits and the hike in healthcare, the access to this product, this group of essentials is going to be even harder to reach. And so the need for our services is going to grow. It already is. So we need help, and we need support with donations of product and with clothing, and then support financially to get it out to more people. But we are feeling that pressure. And I think in a year from now, we'll feel it even more.
Yeah. There's an old saying that rent eats first. So somebody could be in housing, but still not have the necessities.
Yeah.
Are you still able to deal with them under your model, or?
Yeah. Like I said, we don't go direct to clients, so I can't help someone directly in their housing, but as long as they're involved with organizations that we work with our partners, shelter providers are also working towards housing and then continue and do stabilization services. So most of our partners have relationships with the families and the individuals that are getting housing and continue with them. And so our work continues with them as well. We also have amazing partners in the social service area, especially in this wonderful network around us in Needham, who are doing other things that we don't do. And so we can partner together. So, Welcome Home in Newton is doing household goods, and they're so incredible. And if they need some extra blankets or something that we have that's kind of part of our world, we'll get that to them. And the same for them. We needed more sheets for our Get Set program, and they had the right size at the right time, and they provided them for us. Or we can partner together around another agency, around a shelter that needs to help someone getting housed, and we can bring the clothes and the hygiene, and they can bring the goods. So we can't operate in silos, especially as nonprofits. To tackle these issues, we've got to do it together. The takes a village model is so real, especially for us. And so we're one piece of it, but we want to find the ecosystem that helps us do more together.
People just do a spring cleaning and just bring you a bunch of clothes. What do you want for donations?
Yeah, we want basics. So warm, comfortable gear, sweats, sweatpants, hoodies, t-shirts. We want it to be like new or new. We're talking about giving people the best quality, most comfortable, healthy goodness. So if you have things that have holes or stains or pilling or falling apart, we have places we can help you get to. There's textile recycling. There are other partners we can work with to help you. If you have prom dresses, we know where you should send those. But what we need are basic needs, clothing that people can wear comfortably every day. And you can come to our donation center anytime between 10 and 12, Monday through Thursday, or Saturdays, and drop that off. Or if you want to do a bigger drive with your community, we can figure out a good time for that. We love brand new items. We love your travel size soaps and conditioners. If you go on trips and you want to grab some extra, for our hygiene, things like underwear, socks, we take only new items, but we always have need for that.
Volunteers. We did some work with, we did a Cradles to Crayons was on the show. They start their volunteers at 5, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
We do volunteer events with companies and faith groups and social groups. Often we go to them. Our donation center is packed with donations, and it's a tight space, so we can welcome, anywhere from 8 to 10 people in our space. But often we'll go out and do a bigger event with a company, and we love doing that. We can do kit packing, we can do baby bag packing, lots of fun stuff. We also have regular volunteers that come in every day and help us sort and pack orders, and that is really the most wonderful community of people. And there's an application for that on our website, and we always need more support. We love heavy lifters. We have to move a lot of stuff around. So if anyone wants to lend their heavy lifting skills, we welcome that. But we have lots of opportunities for people to get involved.
Yeah. Old guys like me with bad backs would be bad for that. But you do have a Rolodex. You have a go-to crew.
We do. So the Go-To Crew you can sign up for online, and that is for things like rapid response needs, quick turnaround. We need sunscreen quickly. In the summertime, we go through it like crazy. So we call out to the Go-To Crew, and this is optional. You're not required to support any of these asks, but they're really, can you help us quickly? And the Go-To Crew is the best. They show up. We just did a Go-To Crew call. We needed children's coats. We've been sending out more children's coats than ever before. And we said, can you bring some? And they showed up in droves, whether people could drop them off or send them via our Amazon wish list or doing a drive with their family and friends. And so we love the Go-To Crew. It's a great way to get involved when you can't schedule a time to show up, but you want to help when you can.
Yeah. Do you have a calendar? And is there a bigger need when the temperatures get colder? Or, I mean, you just said sunscreen, so that's kind of what made me think.
Yeah, there are times of year where we know we're going to need support in the areas. Obviously in the winter, we start coat season in October. We start, we've this year already had some really cold days a lot earlier than expected. So we start accepting and needing winter accessories and coats and things like that in October. In the summer and spring, sunblock is a big one. And then we start doing shorts and t-shirts. A lot of people have been bringing maternity and postpartum items, which are great. We get that out year round. And then, sometimes we'll just see a need in the community, and we'll pull all the stops out to say, can you help? We had, obviously during COVID and after COVID, a real need for PPE and things like that. And people were incredible in sending and supporting that need, and things like hand sanitizer when viruses and flus and things are going around are always really helpful. So we always put it on our website, on our social media, and our Go-To Crew when we have a big seasonal need.
Yep. And they can go to your website, which is?
circleofhopeonline.org.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
One Big Boat is a production of Last Minute Productions Incorporated. This episode was produced by me, Jay Dobeck. Ryan Macheski was the sound engineer. Jim Johnson provided production support. And Joanne Pilata is the production coordinator.